Hey, I'm Scott from Cognition AI, and today I'm really excited to introduce you to Devin, the first AI software engineer. Let me show you an example of Devin in action. I'm going to ask Devin to benchmark the performance of Llama on a couple different API providers. From now on, Devin is in the driver's seat. First, Devin makes a step-by-step plan of how to tackle the problem. After that, it builds the whole project using all the same tools that a human software engineer would use. Devin has its own command line, its own code editor, and even its own browser. In this case, Devin decides to use the browser to pull up API documentation so that it can read up and learn how to plug into each of these APIs. Here, Devin runs into an unexpected error. Devin actually decides to add a debugging print statement, reruns the code with the debugging print statement, and then uses the error in the logs to figure out how to fix the bug. Finally, Devin decides to build and deploy a website with full styling as the visualization. You can see the website here. All of this is possible today because of the advancements that we've made in both reasoning and long-term planning. It's a really hard problem, and we've only just started, but we're super excited about the progress that we've made so far. In the meantime, if you'd like to try out Devin on your own real-world tasks, send us a request below, and we'd be happy to forward it to Devin.
Hey, I'm Neil, and I wanted to show you an example of Devin, our AI software engineer, helping me fix a bug. So I've been using this repo called SymPy. SymPy is an algebra system written in Python. And I noticed this issue where when you take the log of a fraction, you get zoo, which is a type of infinity. So that's definitely wrong, but instead of trying to figure this out myself, I just asked Devin to take a look. Devin immediately jumps in, sets up the repo, and is able to reproduce that same zoo output. Devin then figures out the right part of the code and adds print statements in order to figure out what the cause of this issue is. And we can see here that the cause is that integer division leads to a 0, and then we take the log of 0. So based on that, Devin's able to fix the issue in the code by replacing that integer division with true division, and then cleans up the debug output and verifies that the result is what we want. And then Devin even runs the test in the repo as well to make sure nothing else is broken. So that was great. Saved me a ton of time. So thank you, Devin.
Hey, I'm Walden, one of the developers here at Cognition AI. We were playing around with whether or not Devin could start a side hustle on Upwork. So here's actual real job from Upwork, where the client wants to set up this computer vision model, which actually looks quite interesting. Seems very difficult to set up. I'm not sure how I would start doing this, but you give the task to Devin and ask Devin to figure it out, and things just kick off. Devin immediately goes ahead, and you can see it sort of starts setting up the repo. It actually runs into some issues here with the versioning. So if you watch how Devin deals with it, Devin's actually updating the code to make these things work. He continues with this, loading and importing packages. You can see that actually downloads images from the internet to run through the model. But you can see here that there are actually some issues that come across. However, Devin knows how to handle these things. Devin kind of pushes through, and if you look closely, Devin's actually doing print line debugging here, where Devin is adding these statements to track where the data flows. And Devin continues to do this until Devin understands how everything's working, and actually then updates the code with the fixes after removing print line statements. Devin continues this pattern of fixing code and running it again until it runs the image model across all of these rows across the world. And we can ask for a report from Devin. At which point, Devin sends over some sample images of roads with damage marked out, and a nice TXT file explaining Devin's work and the different kinds of outputs of the model. Good job, Devin.
Hi, I'm Adyan, and today I felt like playing the game of life, so I asked Devin to implement it for me. Devin started by creating a new React application using the shell, and then it started writing some code through its editor. After that, it deployed the app through Netlify. Let's check it out. That seems nice, but there's a lot more features which I want to add. So let's ask Devin to do this one at a time. I want the words Devin to be written at the initialization screen instead of it being random. Then I want the word to be slightly bigger and the frame rate to be faster. I also want him to fix a bug where the screen gets freezed after 3 seconds. Let's see the progress Devin has made so far. We can see the diff, and the last diff shows that Devin just fixed the bug where the screen gets frozen after 3 seconds. This seems reasonable to me, so let's move on. Next, I want Devin to increase the frame rate after 10 seconds and also to make the website responsive to different window sizes. I also wanted to make it interactive so that when I click my mouse somewhere, it should spawn a new block. Let's check out what Devin has made so far. It started with Devin, which is what we asked for, and when I click something, it creates a new block as well. That's fun. Let's play around with it. Well, there goes my evening.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you an AI training an AI. So here we're going to take the QLoRa repo, which is a fine-tuning method for quantizing large language models. We're going to feed this repo to our agent, Devin, and all we have to ask Devin is to fine-tune a 7B llama model. Devin clones the repo, figures out how to run it using the README, sets up all of the requirements using pip, looks through all the scripts, and is able to start running the training job. There are a few hiccups where Devin runs into some CUDA issues, which is to be expected with open source repos, but it's not a problem. Devin looks at the NVIDIA environment and figures out how to reinstall the packages to make it work. After a few more runs, figure out the correct model names, Devin successfully gets the training run working. Here we see training proceeding smoothly, loss is going down, and after a few steps, looks pretty good. I tell Devin to wait as the training job runs. After about an hour, I come back, ask Devin, hey, how's the training going? Devin helps me look. A few hundred steps are done now, and everything is still proceeding smoothly. Looks great. Thanks, Devin, for helping me set up my training run.
Hey, I'm Tony, an engineer at Cognition. I helped build Devin, and now Devin helps me too. Today at work, I wanted to run a bunch of commands at once and be able to track their status on one screen. I found an open source tool named mprox to do this. Here it is right here. Looks like it all finished, but the status is way too vague. I don't know which ones failed. They all just say down. I really want to improve the UX here, but I'm not familiar with the code at all, so I had Devin, my AI software engineer, help me. Looks like this person right here had the same issue. So all I gave Devin was the link to the issue and asked Devin to fix it. You can see me make the request right here on the left. Let's see what Devin did. On the right, we can track Devin's work and watch Devin jump from tool to tool. First, Devin clones the repository using the shell, then reads the README in an editor to learn how to set up the code, then goes back to the shell to install the required dependencies. Devin also opens up a web browser to take a look at the issue. Now, Devin starts coding. At some point, Devin even opens up some Rust documentation to debug a compiler error. Finally, Devin finishes the task and reports a summary of the changes that were made. Let's see if the changes worked. I have Devin's code right here. Looks like it worked. The third command succeeded. I can even see the status codes. Here's all the code that Devin wrote for this change. Thanks, Devin.
Hey, I'm Andrew, an engineer at Cognition, and I wanted to share a pretty amazing experience I had with Devin. So I maintain this big open source repository, which contains a lot of different algorithms used for competitive programming. A lot of people use it, and a few weeks ago, my friend texted me that there was actually a bug in one of the implementations. The implementation wasn't quite right when the inputs weren't relatively prime. I kind of glossed over that case when I was implementing it, so I never really thought about it. So I implemented a quick fix, and then I thought that I should test it, but I actually never really got around to writing any test cases. So I thought, if I don't want to do it, I should just ask Devin to do it instead. So I gave Devin the repository, asked Devin to just check it out and start working on it. So Devin, found the right repository, checked it out, found all files that are in the repository, and then I told Devin what test case I wanted him to write. I just told Devin, these are the inputs, and then try checking for these conditions for me. So Devin wrote the test without too much trouble. Devin just looked around to understand what exactly the test should look like and what exactly the interfaces were. And with this, Devin ran the tests, ran into a quick hiccup, which was a compiler, but Devin is able to solve those very effectively and just added an extra include to fix that. And then was done running this initial test. So then I asked Devin to actually expand the test a little bit. Instead of just testing this one input, I wanted Devin to test it on all inputs. So just kind of the brute force testing strategy. I use this a lot in my tests, and I just wanted Devin to implement it so that I didn't have to worry about it. So Devin went and rewrote the test function to use 4 nested for loops. But this time, after Devin ran the tests, Devin actually found a test failure. And now, if the code were correct, there could be compiler errors in the test, but the tests seemed really pretty reasonable, so there probably shouldn't be a failure. So Devin went and tried to debug the program for me. So Devin here actually added a print statement to debug the outputs and the inputs to the failing test, reran the tests, and actually found which case was wrong. In this case, these are the inputs, and then the return value was actually -9. And the code I'm running actually should never really return negative values. So Devin realized this and actually went looking in the code that we're trying to test, and actually added this line of code that if extra less than 0, extra plus equals something. And in order to make sure that the return value was actually non-negative. So after fixing this, Devin actually reran the tests, and now I can be confident that my code is correct and I have some tests to prove it. Thanks, Devin.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarah, and I'm going to show you how Devin, our AI software engineer, can autonomously learn from a blog post. Within a few minutes, Devin successfully generated this desktop background image for me with my name on it. So all I had to do was send this blog post in a message to Devin. From there, Devin actually does all the work for me, starting with reading this blog post and figuring out how to run the code. In a couple minutes, Devin's actually made a lot of progress. And if we jump to the middle here, you can see that Devin's been able to find and fix some edge cases and bugs that the blog post did not cover for me. And if we jump to the end, we can see that Devin sends me the final result, which I love. I also got 2 bonus images here and here. So let me know if you guys see anything hidden in these.